What's up, you guys? Welcome back to the series. Happy 5A May. It is now officially May, at least at the time of recording this video. So, of course, that's the time to be playing 5A, and that's the perfect time to get the series started back up. If you're new to the series, I highly recommend checking out some of the past videos, as a lot of those past moves are building blocks for being able to do a lot of the tricks I discussed in this video, as well as other ones coming in the future. In today's video, we are discussing probably one of the most visually appealing concepts in 5A, which is actually originally a 2A concept that was brought into the 5A style, and that is called a Tangler. Tanglers are tricks that involve the yo-yo and the counterweight interacting opposite of each other with a kink twist in the string, and they look really, really cool. Some legendary 5A players such as Tyler Severance and John Robb really pushed what could be done with this concept. So we're going to go over a couple of the basic variations, as well as kind of expanding ourselves to figure out what else can be done with this trick concept. Firstly though, let's take a look at what the basic Tangler looks like. So the concept of Tangler is really easy to understand, but putting it into practice is a whole other ballgame. Essentially, you're having a segment of string coming from your free hand down to the yo-yo, another segment of string coming from your throw hand down to the counterweight, and you are swinging them to one side so that the two objects twist, and you create a kind of propeller motion in the middle of your strings, creating this Tangler effect. A lot of newer players have trouble getting an accurate Tangler though, because they find that there's a lot of issues of creating that perfect separation of having the segment from the yo-yo and the segment from the counterweight perfectly opposite of each other, creating the Tangler motion. What often ends up happening is, instead of having that perfect split, the counterweight will maybe move too fast, the yo-yo will move too fast, and the two will start to kind of bunch up together, maybe even dinging the yo-yo, or just kind of becoming a big tangled mess. And really the reason why these kind of mistakes happen is just because we don't yet have a clear understanding of just how much length should be from the free hand to the yo-yo side versus how much length should be from the throw hand to the counterweight side. Really, there's sort of a happy medium of lengths that has to happen for the separation to happen in a clean and really good looking way. Most of the feel for this trick is actually going to come from the free hand more than the throw hand. And to develop the ability to kind of understand how this happens, before we learn the original Tangler, we actually have to learn something that's called a pseudo-Tangler. So for pseudo-Tangler, essentially what you're going to be doing is you're going to throw a breakaway, and you're going to go right into a modified 1.5 mount. Once the yo-yo is on your free hand side of the 1.5 mount, what you're going to do is you're going to pinch the string on your free hand so that you have a segment that's coming from the yo-yo, and then what you're going to do is you're going to let go of the counterweight, and you're going to start using the yo-yo as the guide to basically start this propeller motion. And what you'll notice happen is that if you do it correctly, there'll be a perfect amount of separation between the two objects, and you'll have like an even spacing between the two. Something to look out for is getting the feel of exactly how much yo-yo string length and counterweight string length there is to get a clean separation. The more you practice this, the more you'll start to notice that the driving force behind the motion really comes from the yo-yo and not so much from the counterweight. Also note that this trick definitely will cause some string tension issues, so make sure to adjust often. When you feel like you've gotten the pseudo-Tangler pretty good, then what you're going to do is you're going to switch your pseudo-Tangler to a modified pseudo-Tangler. And really all we're doing is, instead of allowing that string segment that we had been holding on our throw hand, instead of bringing it back, we're actually going to put it in front of us so that that Tangler motion goes over the string. This allows us to get the correct positioning for being able to do a normal Tangler, but without having to actually perform the crossing and Tangler motion. But this basically sets us up so we get used to having our arms in the correct position and really driving that we're using our free hand to kind of bring that motion into play. As always, really focus on getting that feel for how to make the yo-yo and the counterweight separate so you get that propeller effect. So now that we got the pseudo tangler and the modified pseudo tangler down pretty good, we're going to start introducing how to do the original tangler. For original tangler, we're going to practice with a dead yo-yo first of all, because tangler is a trick that doesn't really involve or really need the spinning yo-yo when you're learning it. So we're just going to leave the yo-yo dead and we're going to practice just with our counterweight and our yo-yo hanging down. So a lot of people, when they're trying to figure out this tangler motion, get confused because they think that they need an equal string length between the yo-yo and free hand and the counterweight and throw hand. When in actuality, it's more kind of offset, where the yo-yo segment is a little bit shorter than the counterweight segment. The reason for this is because the yo-yo is a heavier object, so when you have that in motion and you're trying to keep it separate from the counterweight, you want to offset the two different weight distributions by having a shorter weight on the yo-yo than you do on the counterweight. So what you're doing is you're going to swing the two objects over towards your throw hand. And what you want to do is swing them so that they're roughly traveling at the same time. Some people make the mistake of trying to spin them in opposite time. Basically, the counterweight and the yo-yo are spinning opposite. But remember, we have two different string lengths and two different weights. So by actually swinging them at the same time as we cross over to one side, when we get into the tangler position, that allows the two weights to kind of work together and separate. If we were to swing them over at the exact opposite time, it wouldn't create an opposite effect. Instead, they'd end up kind of mumbling themselves together and you wouldn't get a clean tangler. So what you're going to do is you're going to swing them over to one side. Once you get to that point where you feel the yo-yo side cross paths with the string segment on your counterweight side, you're going to bring both segments from your outside to the inside. Note that as you're doing this though, you want to keep this spinning motion going and using your free hand to really power that motion. Don't worry for now about your throw hand. Let all the motion come from your free hand. When you're practicing this, try just doing maybe 2 repetitions and making sure that everything is separated. Definitely you never want to practice doing bad tanglers. You want to just keep that motion going, and if it starts to get a little bit wonky, just stop the tangler and start over again. Also note where the tangler is happening. It's not happening right in the middle of the string segments, it's actually happening closer to your yo-yo side hand. To exit the tangler, you can just drop the counterweight segment and the yo-yo will just pull itself free. Another variation of being able to exit a tangler to get rid of all those twists is what I call a tangler stall. Essentially, you're going to stall the counterweight on the inside of your throw hand, as well as stopping the yo-yo, and then you're going to use your throw hand to push the counterweight back over the top and start the spinning motion using your throw hand, but this time in the opposite direction as you did from coming into the tangler. This allows the tangler to untwist itself, and you'll be able to stop the counterweight and have no more twist left in the string. Another fun variation on tangler I like to do is a back and forth crisscross tangler. Essentially, this is done by alternating each tangler repetition by swinging it to the outside of the tangler segments and then back in on the opposite swing. Tanglers are very versatile and they're really fun to throw into all of your 5/8 combos. Basically any section of your 5/8 combo where you find that you have the yo-yo separated from the counterweight and you can hold both string segments is a perfect opportunity to throw a tangler into the combo that you're doing. Tanglers are a lot of fun and there are just so many different kind of variations that you can figure out, even more than the ones I described on this video. I highly recommend checking out some of your favorite 5/8 players and really analyzing to see where they're throwing tanglers into their combos. So practice this trick often. Let me know if you guys have any questions or comments, and definitely keep throwing 5/8 all the way through 5/8 May, and of course throughout the rest of the year. Thank you so much for watching. Once again, I'm Josh Yee. Catch you guys next time.